Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcast network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the Wyrm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take a final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock and never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is a World of Darkness community broadcasting from St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, where the Sept of the Evening Star is attempting to combat the forces of the Wyrm, both physical and spiritual. If you like what you're hearing, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below. And if you really like what you're hearing, you should come join our Discord community by following that Discord link, where you can take part in one of the many activities we have happening all month long. And we have some new tables starting soon. So if you want to actually hop in to the world of darkness head first, you could be joining one of those tables by auditioning in one of our many one-shots, or perhaps, just getting in one of those tables. So come aboard, hop in that Discord community by following that link and joining one of those tables. But of course, I couldn't tell this story alone. It would take some pretty incredible players to make it happen. So why don't we just get to it and introduce those players now? So players, say hello and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ Champagne XXX Shadow Lord 420 XXX, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noree, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hi everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabashs of the Shadow Lords. And here in Tampa, we don't throw parties for mediocrity.
Hey everybody, I'm Preston. I played Jason Dreams-In-Decay, Thorne, the Urge of the Bonar.
Speaking of parties, it definitely was not a party for this pack last week as they went to investigate the site of the attack that happened on Charles and Jace when they were out doing some field training with Jace in regards to firearms. That is where they were assaulted by the monstrosity from Piney Point. So after the pack had gathered and caught up on all of the events, they went to go investigate themselves. There they encountered a bunch of the infected creatures that literally sprouted up from the ground. They beat back many of these creatures and began to identify the different types of creatures after being educated by Charles as to those different types, including spitters, brutes, and Frankensteins. And then they were confronted by these wolves that seemed to be created out of roots and vines. They were completely organic material, not made of flesh at all, and they seemed to have these glowing green eyes. They were spotted by Jace during the conflict, completely surrounding, appearing to be about 7 of them, all about the size of regular wolves, miniature versions of the large monstrosity that had assaulted them just the night prior, or a few nights prior. They approached, and then a voice seemed to emanate from one of the wolves, a voice that only one of you had heard before, that being Lucas, when he had previously healed his friend Louise at the clinic. This voice said to back off and to let them know where the location of the changeling refugees was. Of course, you would not give up that information, and after some intimidating stares from everyone in the party, plus an aura of despair from Lucas, the wolves eventually retreated, leaving you to clean up the mess of dismembered, infected pieces, which took quite a bit of time, as most of you had taken Krynos form and weren't exactly careful in the way that you were dispatching these creatures. And Charles had warned you that even if a chunk of these creatures was left, it was possible that they could completely grow back, or possibly grow back multiples of them if left untended to. So for the next couple of hours, you found yourself scouring the ground, finding whatever remains of these creatures you could, and burning them, gathering together and burning them. But after all that time, you eventually find your ways to the vehicle, the SUV, at which point you begin the drive home. Now, it being summer, the days are longer and the nights are shorter. So when you finally do arrive back at the cairn, the first early rays of dawn are starting to ignite on the horizon, a very, very small glow off in the distance. As soon as you park off at the side of the road in your usual kind of abandoned roadside parking spot, which is obscured from this dirt road, Charles, in the driver's seat, stiffens and kind of looks off in the direction of the cairn. A moment later, he throws open the door and bolts out the door. As he hits the wood line, you see him go into his Hispo form and go charging off into the woods.
Lucas will just yell shit and jump out, shift to Lucas, and follow him.
I'm going to jump out and shift into Hispo. I'll be able to cover more ground that way and chase after them.
As you're shifting into Hispo, go ahead and make the rage check. As all of you are exiting the vehicle, you can't help but remember the final words of those wolves. If you're here, who is there?
Aspen will just hop out of the car and chase after, and Lupus as well.
Reluctantly, we'll get out of the vehicle and go into Lupus as well.
I'll succeed on my rage check.
Okay. So as all of you drop down into your various lupine forms, Jester taking a larger wolf form, but all of you sprouting fur over your bodies, charging off into the woods, you hear Charles give out a bellowing howl, signaling where he's headed, but also seeming to gain some rage from what's left of the moon hanging above in the sky as he charges forward towards the cairn. Now, the distance between the roadside and the cairn is a bit of a ways. You did set the cairn back, and the center of the cairn is quite a distance from the roadside by design, so that it wasn't easily discovered from anybody off the road. So it does take about 10 or so minutes at a steady run to make your way to the center of the cairn, but dodging and weaving through the trees, catching up to Charles as best as you can, though he is very, very fast and agile and had a pretty good lead on you. When you get to the center of the cairn, you see exactly what triggered his attention, because you see the large wolf snarling and squared off with an alligator. A massive alligator that is positioned right next to the council table. Several of the chairs at the council table have been knocked over. Now, in between the alligator and Charles stands Eliza, who has her hands spread out, trying to separate Charles and this massive alligator. You can see Artie is sitting at the council table, kind of backed up from it, as if somewhat startled at this turn of events.
Aspen will go back into her Hamid and look at Eliza. What is happening?
That's a very complicated question that I really can't explain at this moment, but Charles, calm down. Charles just responds with a snarl, and you can see all of the hair on the back of his neck is stood up as he tries to kind of move around Eliza.
Hearing Eliza telling Charles to calm down, I'm going to move in front of Charles.
Okay.
And just stare at him, giving a short bark, like a soft one.
Give me a charisma and persuasion. I will also give you the opportunity for manipulation and persuasion, depending on which is better.
Charisma.
Okay.
Lucas is going to go wide. He sees everybody kind of stopping at one point. He's going to pick the left, and he's going to arc to the left, and then shift into Hamid, having the clave appear in his hand. And I'm going to use Sense the True Form.
Okay.
Jace is doing something similar to Lucas, but he's stopping at like the tree line. He'll go into Hamid and just kind of look around to see if anything else is going on.
I spent a willpower, but I got 4 successes.
Okay. As you move in front of Charles and you give a bark, he he calms, but he doesn't lower his guard, if that makes sense. There's still a snarl in the back of his throat, a growl. You can see the hair on the back of his neck lower. He doesn't shift out of Hispo at all. He remains in his form. But you can see the muscles relax a little bit. And he does take a couple of steps back, backing off just a little bit from his stance.
Okay, I'll move to stand beside him, and I'll shift into Hamid.
Aspen will get as close as she can to Eliza, while also being very weary of this giant monster in our cairn, and put her hands up. Eliza, I need information.
I'll happily give it to you. Lucas, what'd you get on your sense the true form? As you take a big whiff into the air, what you smell is unlike anything you've ever smelled before. This is a first, by far. It's not natural in terms of you've never smelled anything in the wild like this before, but it's similar. So it has the smell of an alligator or a crocodile, but different because it also smells similar to Guru.
Lucas will call out, "That's not a gator."
Eliza looks over and nods. You're right about that. It's not. Everyone, we have a visitor. Unexpected, to be certain. But if everyone's willing to humor me for a moment, I'd like to introduce you to She Who Shines, apparently a resident or a neighbor of ours who has been a resident of these parts for quite some time. The gator lets out a long hiss before it starts to shift. Then you see the snout retreat, and it moves from its four-legged position, pulling back up onto two legs. And what you see is a bald-headed woman with what appears to be a coil of hair at the back of the bald head, just one single braid that comes out of the back of her bald head down her back. She wears a leather vest that clings very tightly to her body. Now her arms are covered in tattoos and scars that look like they have scales wrapping all the way around. The tattoos are scales wrapping around her arms and down her hands. She has tight-fitting leather pants that go down to fur-lined boots. Her eyes still bear the same lizard look, the same alligator look. It's the one thing that doesn't shift about her entire form. And her teeth are still pointed. Eliza continues. She who shines is a Mokale from over across the bridge. And before you got here, we were having a rather interesting conversation.
Okay. She'll nod to She Who Shines. You have to understand, it's quite jarring to have a stranger in our Caern.
It's quite strange to have been called here by those that don't belong here.
She'll side eye over at Eliza, look back. Called here. How?
This home is not yours. You are not Croatan. Eliza kind of gestures to She Who Shines. She was looking for the followers of Turtle. As I was coming to learn, the Mokale have apparently astounding memories, and she can recall the last who lived here. While she wasn't apparently alive to see it, her ancestors were. And so when this place was awakened, she felt it. And she came here. Unfortunately, seeing us was an unexpected surprise.
Well, the feeling is mutual. I guess we're all surprised now. Why don't we take a moment? And she'll kind of put up her hands in like a receding gesture, and just take a seat. Would that be amenable?
Give me a charisma and persuasion.
Can I add my favor
Yes.
and or beautiful, because I don't know if she cares about what I look like?
I will say the beautiful doesn't work because you are Guru, and her hatred of Guru is so deep-seated that she would not care how pretty you are.
Figured, just thought
But
I'd
I will
ask.
let your favor stand.
While Aspen is talking, I'm actually looking up in the sky where usually I know Star's position is, remembering what she said a few days ago in the meeting, and then I'm going to kneel down and whisper to Charles. Star said we should approach new people, or certain new people, with less violence and more listening. This might be one of them.
You just hear the same deep-chested rumbling growl from within, but it does seem to give off or die off at the end, kind of pathetically.
5.
Those same slitted eyes just stare at you before they drift over towards Jester and the clave at her waist. And then over towards Lucas and the clave in his hands.
Aspen will look over to Jester and look to Lucas. We can have a conversation. Doesn't have to be volatile. Look back over at Lucas and Jester. Let's sit and have a conversation.
I notice she's actually looking at the clave. I'll unhook it and just set it near one of the trees. And then step away back towards Charles.
Lucas will separate the long handle and put it on one side, and then he'll take the cleave itself and put it on the other side, and he'll snap the little leather strap on it shut. He's not setting it down, but he's making a show that he's not getting rid of it or ready to draw it.
She nods, and she moves and sits in the seat beneath the clave with her back to the tree in the leader position.
I'll look at that. I'll walk to the table, but I won't sit.
I'll give Charles a gentle tap and just move to one of the closest seats. And hopefully he'll come at least sit near me.
As you tap him on the back, you can feel the muscles are so rigid, especially after where she sat. But he, with very rigid footfalls, steps forward and moves towards the edge of the table, though it seems like he's like a coiled spring ready to pounce across that table at a moment. Eliza puts a hand on Aspen's shoulder and leans in to whisper, "You and I both know there is a lot of history here, and they know it better than most. If what I have learned is true, they remember everything as if it happened to them."
Understood. She'll look back over to She Who Shines. Why don't we sit across from each other so we can see eye to eye?
She nods and then stands up and gestures to the table. "Where do you want to sit?"
She'll take the seat right next to her seat, just right across. That way they can sit across from each other, and she'll gesture to the seat across from the table.
She moves over to the seat across, making sure to look behind her that no one is positioning themselves before sitting down. It has been many suns since any of my people have shared a table with egg smashers. So whatever you have to say, better be good, because this place is being defiled by your very presence.
I do not wish to fight with you. Do not wish to have this come to violence in any way. We are here, living amongst the ones who were here before, connected to this place, not just in body and mind, but in spirit as well. I would like to have a conversation. Excuse me if I'm not as proper as I could be. I've not met another like you.
You can thank your ancestors for that. There used to be many more of us.
Don't agree with what happened all that time ago. I wish I could be a pillar of apology or shaking hands and bringing something new, but I'm not them, and you're not them either.
Then what are you?
I am of Gaia. I am of change, of something new. I work to help Gaia, much like you do, from my understanding.
They said that too. How are you any different?
Because I don't see you as useless. I believe we all have our ways of doing things, of helping Gaia, of being there in this cause together. Regardless of what we do or how we do it, we're all working towards the same goal. My people believed you didn't do enough, that you weren't on the same page with us, that you were lesser than us because you didn't do it the way we wanted it done. I can't say I have the same sentiment.
Because the way of the wolf is the only way, right?
I don't know exactly the complete history on what happened. Like, that's something I'm obviously going to need to learn. But even that sounds completely wrong, because if you look at the state of the world, we've obviously Guru have fucked up.
Yes. And we've all had to suffer the consequences of that because there weren't any of us to fight it. You made sure of that.
We thought we were better. We thought we knew better. We think that our way is the only way, and anyone who doesn't do it our way is in the way or useless. That is how we've thought in the past. And that might be how some people still think to this day. I don't speak for them. But I don't speak for many of them because I'm different and I'm doing something different. But that doesn't take away the harm that it's done to you and your people.
Now, the dissolver eats away at Mother Cow. Now, the dissolver clouds the sun. Keeps the heat from our scales. Keeps our eggs from hatching. Pollutes our swamps. And would see us in cages. We would have fought them, you know. Instead, we have to hide. So what will make you different? How do I know then what I haven't run out of usefulness? You won't just turn on me as you oft have before.
Did you come here looking for the Croatan?
Yes. They called to me and they were not here.
So you don't know what happened to them?
No. Their voice is silenced.
Look at Jester.
Several hundred years ago, the entire Croatan, as well as Turtle, sacrificed themselves to seal the Eater of Souls.
This is why our turtle brethren have not been born either.
I'm sorry for what happened to your people. But we at least all point around the group in here are very well aware what the Guru thought was right, and what they have done has only made things worse, and things need to change.
I can't offer you solace that all of Guru have changed their mind and seen things in a different light. But I can tell you that this spot here with us is different. We see not only your value, but what good would it do to Gaia to rid ourselves of you? What good would that do for any of us?
What good did it do in the first place?
It didn't. It did no good.
And you did it anyway.
I didn't. I can't speak for the horrors, the histories of terrible things that have happened to your people, and that is awful. And as I said before, I apologize, but that I know that means nothing coming from one Guru. But I didn't. I don't want Gaia's chosen to be that way.
And what about when the others come? The others who don't think like you, who don't believe like you.
We convince them of something different. And if not, we defend each other. I know what it's like to feel like you're at it alone and not trusting the ones around you, not using the ones around you for support. I understand that. It's easier to only trust yourself, to only trust what you believe, what you know to be true. But it's not reality. You have to give trust to get trust. You have to give support to get support. You have to give respect to get respect. And I'm offering you what little I can on my side, but I can't promise that the world around won't be different, won't be the same as it was before. I can just offer you that here we want to try something different.
This one said the same. She gestures towards Eliza. This one said that you are looking for Turtle.
That is true. It's a long journey ahead of us, but it's something we hope to accomplish.
Do you believe she can be found?
Aspen will look around, looking at Lucas, looking down at his clave, tilting her head slightly, and try to find Jason in the cairn to give him a similar look.
Jason will kind of step out from the tree line a little bit and match your gaze, listening, make his way up. Turtle can be found. They're just very, very lost.
And what would you do when you find her?
Plan to help her. Get her out of the situation that she's in. A spirit like that doesn't deserve to be in the cage that they're in. Nor do any spirits. You said you came here looking for the Croatan. What was your plan if they were here?
My people made peace with the Croatan. We were once at war. During the War of Rage, we fought. But they saw the error of their ways. Along with the northern wind, the horned serpent, they saw their error. And they helped us fight back what little of us was left to repel the invaders. We were friends once. Unfortunately, it was too little too late. And then their voices went silent.
A great sacrifice is what had to be done for the betterment of Gaia. From what I know briefly of your people, you're not ones to shy away from a sacrifice for a great cause.
What happened to us was not a great cause.
No. But like Aspen said, we're trying to do things different. She is making a change. The other guru here are making a change. There's things with the nation that need to be fixed. We're trying to do that here.
Most of us here, throwaways, outcasts, refuse tossed away by the rest of the guru. So, the fact that you're sitting down and talk to us, you don't have to believe me, but you're talking to the right people.
Others of your kind came to our kind in the past, and kinds like us saying similar words. Others like her, she points to Eliza, saying they came with words of peace, only to have those they represented attack us. Butcher us, slaughter us. But you laid down your arms. And if it's true that you seek Turtle, and you believe that you can return them, then maybe this place was opened for a reason. Maybe this place let you in for a reason. The ruler of the tides shines brightly on you. But it shined brightly on those that came before you too. Before they soaked the mother cow in blood. If you are so different as you claim, you'll find a way to prove it. Until then, you will be neither my enemy nor my ally.
And when we prove it, you know where to find us.
And if you're just like the rest, then may a similar fate befall you as those that were here before. I cherished in their screams. different.
The fact that we're both sitting at this table right now means we both want to see things be different.
Yes. Something invades my swamp. A plague.
Is it plants? Spores?
Unnatural growths. Unlike anything I've seen before, unlike anything the Deviser has ever created. It reeks of the Dissolver and the Designer both.
And of something else as well. Is that correct?
Yes. If you want to prove it, you will help me rid of it.
That's been our goal for quite some time now, is to get rid of that. And in doing so, we'd love to help you in your home as well.
There is a preserve known as Whedon across the bridge. Come to my preserve, cleanse my swamp. That is proof enough for me. Try to claim it as your own, or do harm to it, and I will defend it with everything I have. The Blood Devils tried once, and they suffered dearly.
I would expect nothing less, is for you to defend your home. As we defend ours. And we will get your home back to you the way it was, without plague. I can promise you that.
That is how you can prove it, then. Purge this pestilence. Save my clutch. And you will have my alliance.
Thank you for even considering to speak with me and us, she who shines.
If I heard the call of a voice long silenced, I wasn't the only one. Be prepared. This place has a long history. And others were not as successful in maintaining their composure since. She stands up from the table. She looks over each of you with the same slitted eyes. She pauses on Lucas and blinks a few times. Especially you. I'll make sure to give proper notice before I visit again, now that I know who lives here.
Thank you. And Aspen will stand up from the table as well to show, like, as a sign of respect.
She then starts backing up, not turning her back as she makes her way towards the woods. When she hits the tree line, she starts to drop down, lowering herself to the ground as she takes the form of the crocodile. And you can hear the slithering through the trees and through the underbrush as she moves away. Artie lets out a breath that he's clearly been holding this entire time. Okay. Might have shit myself. Hey. Welcome back. How'd everything go? And yeah, that was new. Would have loved to have let you know, but couldn't even grab my phone before anything because this place is awful and awesome at the same time. Hi.
Aspen immediately plops to the seat she was sitting in and just puts her head in her hands and leans on the table. Hi. Your day was great, I hope.
Was until Lizard Lady showed up and, almost killed us. And then Eliza, in her amazing way, was able to talk her down. And, she became a dragon for a moment.
A what?
A dragon. When she first saw us, she literally became a dragon. I'm not shitting you.
Because why not?
That's what they do. You know how we become big wolf men? Dragon.
Cool.
We got zombies, we got dragons.
Now,
Great.
I'm all for having that on our side, but against us, not a fan.
Is everybody gonna come sit? We should just come sit.
Sorry, on edge. Yeah, he'll make his way to his seat.
So straighten up the other seats.
I'll lean down and give Charles a gentle scratch on the ears.
Charles is
Okay.
still just staring off in the direction she left in. He seems to be tracking, even from this distance, her departure from the cairn.
Okay, I'll just leave a hand as I'm listening to everyone else. Because the minute I know, like, his muscles start to relax, she's gone.
Okay. So I guess a couple of things. Get my thoughts together. We saw looking over at Artie and Eliza, we saw the plant dog, kind of, lots of small other plant dogs, not as large as they had explained before, took care of some of the zombie plant monsters. So we accomplished that goal. A strange voice talked through one of these wolf plant monsters. So that was interesting. And then we came here and there was a giant crocodile. So did I get everything there that we did? You discuss.
The weird wolf thing wanted to know where basically Ravi is hiding everybody. That's one of the things they're searching for.
The wolves were They weren't alive. They were like puppets. Something else was speaking through them because I tried to intimidate the wolves before this presence came, and there was nothing there. They were just automatons. Like, they were just with directives, I guess, on something, but they weren't alive. But then when it was speaking through, there was a presence there afterwards.
Puppets is a good way to put that. When I was looking at them, they had almost like strings attached to them, and they were all heading in the same direction when they all like collided. So puppets is a someone's controlling them, obviously from a very, very far distance. So
That red eye. That's the same thing I saw during while we were curing Luis. So same thing. Sounded the same. Yeah.
So that it's probably what, this Balor follower?
More than likely. That's what I assume.
Wanted to know where the other Fae were. So it makes sense.
All right. So, well, we've come to learn that we have a neighbor, and it seems that they're being affected as well. Now, this is something that could be very helpful to us, but there's a bridge here to be mended as well. And we would be walking into some very uncertain circumstances. They have every reason, after we help them with their problem, to just turn around and take advantage of the situation and rid themselves of us. And they would not be wrong in doing so, considering everything we've done.
Trust begets trust. And even to that point, one of the main reasons the Guru were able to do what they did during the War of Rage is because we move in packs. So if it does come to that, I trust that we have each other. But again, trust begets trust.
One of the things that made the Mokale so formidable is that they are large and powerful. Our packs, while strong, it took quite a few of us to take down a rather powerful Mokale, and this one was extremely powerful from the looks of them. And the fact that they've managed to stay hidden and undisturbed this entire time says something. They seem to come from a rather powerful lineage. Especially with the memories they seem to be able to call upon. However, if we can also stress to them the threat extends beyond their swamp, and even if we were to rid of it this time, it would just as easily reappear again, and that it could return just as easily as it came the first time. That could prompt further assistance beyond just this first encounter.
I agree. I think what we need to do is show that we can help in the swamp, because words are just words. At some point, action has to show that we are doing something about it, and until they can trust us, they're not going to follow us around and look at our actions or trust that we've done anything about anything. So I think what we do is we fix their swamp, and then we have the conversation of how dire and serious the whole situation is.
I agree, one way or another, whether they help us after this or not, we should fix their swamp. It's the right thing to do.
Yes.
I agree. I mean, everybody here at this table is all about the hero life. Yeah, but we would be foolish to not believe that long memories bring long grudges.
Agreed.
And Eliza's right. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying, Aspen. I do. But we have to be prepared for a knife in the back. We just have to. Even if it has absolutely nothing to do with us individually.
Which brings up some other points. Now I've delved into my notes and memories about all of this and what I remember of the teachings about the Mokale. They have friends, or at least they used to. They had ties with the Garal, the Werebears, and the Rokia, Weresharks. Now, Weresharks, it was more of an agreement of leaving each other alone. They don't go into the water, and the Weresharks don't come on land. Pretty easy and reasonable accord between the two. But She Who Shines said that there were others coming. Now, we have a name to the followers of Turtle, the Croatan. I believe with some research, perhaps even academic research, we might be able to find some historical records, even from the humans, about the Croatan. It's very unlikely that they didn't have some impression upon the natives in this area, or even in the United States as a whole. So if we can find any information about them, that could be useful. But what other changing breeds they had dealings with? She mentioned you specifically, Lucas, and if memory serves, there was a particular pharaoh that your tribe had dealings with.
Can somebody give me the short story on what happened?
Uh,
Sure.
shortest of stories. War of Rage after the Impergium. The changing breeds started fighting because werewolves, some thought that they weren't doing their job properly, some thought that Guru should be top in this hierarchy of the different changing shifters. There was a war because there was technically two, but it's kind of all put together as one war of rage, and we basically beat them all into extinction or hiding, and have not seen them except in sparse speakings since.
Okay.
That sums it
fucked
up. Look over at Charles.
Charles is still staring off in the distance, but you can see his muzzle bob up and down. Eliza continues. I think we can expect some other unexpected guests like this in the near future. And she looks towards Charles. That means security is going to be potentially compromised, or at least need to be prepared for unexpected visitors. And we won't know what their motivations will be or their moods will be. They are coming here expecting an extinct tribe of Guru. At least that's what She Who Shines was expecting. And if they see us, and if they feel the same way about us that she did, depending on what their mindset is, it might not be as accommodating. She was prepared to fight. Luckily, I was able to calm her before she was able to do any real damage. Can't guarantee that'll always be the case.
So, go ahead, Jester. You go.
How do we prepare? Because this was a breach. She may not have known, but she literally walked into our Caern, and if others are more violent and won't be stopped by words, like, how do we stop it? How do we, like, prevent situations like that?
Well, I think it's time that and she looks towards Jace. We need to cure you as soon as possible. And then I think we need to talk to the guardians of this place, because they let her in. They did nothing to stop her. And perhaps it's because their old memories think fondly on her. We need to ensure that they will not think with old minds about this situation. We need to inform them about how things have changed. They have been asleep for quite some time. They are not aware of the changing of the world. They went dormant around the time that this tribe went extinct. They don't know how things have changed. And therefore, they don't know to protect against these things. So we need to do what we do best and update them on everything that's happened so that they can do their job. But until then, we're going to need to heighten security. We're going to need to be on our guard, and we're going to need to be prepared for a fight if one appears. Which means more shifts, more patrols, more guarding.
I also think looking into the trees, seeing if we can get any memories of their interactions with the other changing breeds, and see what we can get as far as that goes, so we know kind of what to prepare for on that front.
I think it also means we make fixing the swamp a top priority. Because if we can get She Who Shines on our side, perhaps she can act as somewhat of a buffer to these other arrivals. Because if she shows that we have the best intentions, if she's here to speak on our behalf, and I know that's a very strong if, she looks towards Lucas with a reassuring and acknowledging nod. If we are able to encourage her to ally with us, at least she will be able to assure the other arrivals of our intentions and perhaps soften their approach.
And for that, we need iron ASAP.
Yes. Now, that brings another complication. If they find out that we're dealing with leeches, I know that the Mokale specifically do not think highly of leeches at all. And I can't speak to any of the other changing breeds that may be arriving as to their feelings towards leeches. Mokale are worshippers of sun more than moon, and therefore they do not think highly of denizens of the night.
Liza, is there... She who shines said it, she responding to a call. And that's what the others are going to be coming to. Is there a way to deafen that call for a duration?
That's what we'll need to find out. We'll need to delve into what the spirits here are doing, what the Caern here is doing. It is clearly sending out some sort of sign or signal that even you and I aren't aware of. When we awakened this place, it apparently had greater effects than even we were aware of. So that's what we're going to have to find out. Which is, again, why we need to take care of whatever it is that is keeping you afflicted.
You should talk to Star.
Yes.
She said some things without being direct, but she knows something about them coming.
Look into that. Yeah.
Good. So we get information on what's going on, try to make friendly with She Who Shines, very cautiously, obviously. Get iron so we can fix her home and have a potential ally when moving through all the rest of the ones that may be called here. All well, not speaking of the leeches in her presence or when it comes to any of the others that come to visit.
We're going off of the information that there's just one of her, but we should not make any assumptions. She mentioned a clutch. Now, this could just be gators and crocodiles within the swamp. They take others in as if they are brethren, as we do wolves. But we should be cautious. Who's to say? But they are so few, it would be surprising to see a multitude of them. We should just be prepared for anything. Jester, I think it's time you learn a thing or two and we start preparing for the rites to cure Jace.
Okay.
It'll be a good time.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Optimism is what I'm trying.
You're gonna need masks, like full face masks, just so you know, Jester, you want to pick some of those up. Gowns, lots of paper towels. Yeah, lots.
Hazmat suit?
I mean, if you can get one. Sure.
I've already requisitioned some supplies from Ivy, so we'll see what we can do. But this is going to be different for certain. But I'm expecting anything. After this encounter, the She Who Shines, what's going through everyone's minds? Jace, we'll start with you.
Weird seeing another changing breed, so he's trying to wrap his head around, brought up a lot of different questions that he wants answers to. The breach on the Caern. The Caern is really kind of not sitting well with him, just because it seemed like such a highly protected place, especially when he first came in and Rat had to bring him in, and it just got breached so easily by her. And then the procedure that's needing to be done, it's kind of at the forefront of his brain.
Lucas.
Lucas doesn't know the specifics of the War of Rage. All he was ever taught is don't trust other changing breeds. It was beat into him by his tribe, especially Bat. But he also knows that Shadow Lords throughout history have done the dirty work of other tribes. And this could be history coming back to haunt him as a Shadow Lord. And he is very concerned about that.
Jester.
Ugh, where to start? Had heard very little about the War of Rage or the changing breeds before this, so I knew they were there, so it's not that much of a shock as, say, like learning Fae exists, but it's a lot. And hearing some of the history, realizing we did some really, really bad stuff in the past. It's going to make things really complicated. Worried about, honestly, worried about like if these continued breaches where people just show up at the Caern is going to set Charles over the edge eventually, especially if there's not a good history between the changing breeds and Garou. So really hope we can get something worked out that can be prevented. The back of my mind, though, they don't like leeches. Cool. They don't have an alliance with them, so they kill them. Oh, cool.
And Aspen.
Oof. Let's see. Sins of the Father is really what's going through her mind. How many times is history going to come back and bite all of us in the butt for us to fix for the whole of the old nation? And at what point are we going to make or break that? And that means we've got to make allies where we can make allies. We've got to start making amends where we can make amends. But it's just one more thing. And what is going to be the straw, whether it's from history or something we've created ourselves, that will break the Pax back?
As the sun rises on the horizon and breaks its way through the trees, bathing the earth in a glow, heating the ground, the pack, weary from an evening of combating infected creatures, of facing off against immeasurable enemies, and now learning about their unknown neighbors, settle in to finally try and get some rest. But will rest be had, knowing that the odds are mounting higher and higher, and that there are unknown visitors on the way? This is where we take our break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. See you shortly.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Chromatic Creations US, Panchi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Devlin the Bard, Champs Tramps, and Hal and Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpetebynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at ko-fi.com/stpetebynight to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back. As we return in the second half, we return with a newfound tradition within the Sept, the Council of Ragabashs. This is a tradition founded by Lucas, where Aspen, the Sept leader, gets to take counsel with the two Ragabashs, Artie and Lucas. A chance to have some thoughts bounced off the two opinions that seem to contradict one another, but occasionally, very occasionally, fall in line on certain issues. It's a great opportunity to see things weighed and measured against each other and to just get a really wide array of opinions on matters. Now, it is a new tradition and it is still feeling out how it's going to work, but it's becoming a tradition nonetheless. And since Artie's return, this is the first time they're really getting to stretch it out and try it out once again. So what will the results of it be, especially with all of the new events that have occurred? This deal with Bateman, She Who Shines, the plants, and on and on and on. So as Aspen, Lucas, and Artie gather at the cairn during the day, the sun beating down, but the cairn still maintaining its temperate and cool conditions. Everyone is gathered at the hand-carved wooden table in their seats, prepared to meet. The scene is yours.
Aspen will sit up in her sundress and hiking boots that she's wearing that are folded down. Okay. Well, a lot.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Shit. How do we start?
I'll start. What the fuck?
So what the fuck?
What the fuck? Like, what'd y'all do when I was gone? Did you summon Satan and decide to shit in his cereal or something? Like, what happened?
Oh, Artie, it's Florida. He was already here.
Well, that's fair. And you see him reach into his vest pocket and pull out a handkerchief and dab his forehead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start with you, Aspen. Where are you where's your head at? What are you feeling? What are you thinking about right now? This moment?
Right at this moment?
Yes.
Or what the dragon looked like.
Okay. It was unusual because it's not what you'd expect, right? So it's not like your traditional dragon. It definitely looked like a gator, but bigger, like much bigger. Probably, God, at least 11, 12 feet long. Scaly for sure. Had a really, really long snout, tons of jagged teeth. Some of the scales were almost like sharpened and piercing coming off the hide. Claws, massive claws, razor sharp claws. Felt like it had rows of teeth, like just teeth on teeth on teeth in its mouth. Eyes that felt like they were burning. It was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen. That's for sure. It was hard to see because it was dark. I will give you that. So I couldn't make out a lot of the features, but it had a really long barbed tail off the back. I think if it probably swung the tail hard enough, it could probably knock down one of the trees easily. And you know how old some of these trees are. Lots of power, lots of strength. And I don't know if it could breathe fire, but I wouldn't put it past it.
When I die eventually, this is weird. Just follow me on this. When I die, I got a fucking bone to pick with Gaia because we're talking about like giant grizzly bears. I can only imagine what that looks like. We're talking about giant sharks. I can only imagine what that looks like. Dragons, you've seen it, and we're fucking wolves. Why do I feel like we got screwed?
Well, I mean, if you're going to be from nature, wouldn't you want to be the most natural looking thing?
It's a dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's our punishment. Maybe we used to look cooler.
Maybe that's what the war rage was about. Jealousy. Feel like we cracked that case.
Krynos envy.
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah. Although I did take some notes while she was talking and I was able to kind of discern some terms. She said designer, divisor, and dissolver. And from what I was able to put together, designer, I think, is Weaver. Divisor, I think, is Wild. And dissolver, I think we can all put together as Wyrm. Mother cow, Gaia. I think that was the comparison there. Blood devils, leeches. She was very, very angry, to be sure, but she definitely has a wealth of knowledge. Like she knew about the previous sept. Even in that little dig at the end, like she clearly knew that we were here before. And I don't know what relation she has, but if she knows about the leeches in the area too, there's a lot that could be gained from an alliance with her. But again, and I can't disagree with what Lucas and Eliza said at the meeting, at what cost and what are we risking? But it could be a good thing. It could be a really good thing if she's been here for a while and if she's been paying attention even slightly as to what's been going on, even from the days of the old sept. There's a lot to be gained because we've kind of had this big blank space of time. And we're only going off of what Eliza knew and some of Ryder's memories that Jester can call upon and some stuff from storage units and stuff. There's a lot of blanks to fill in. Be good to know what we're getting into, especially if there are spirals in town, which it seems there might be.
Yeah. Yep. Forgot about those for a second.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So where do we start?
Well, I mean, I don't think that it's a bad idea that we go take care of her territory, or at least help her. That suits our ends and her ends. And that's, I think, the first stone. Afterwards is going to be up to her. Because we did our part, and if it turns into, well, now I need you to do this, now I need you to do this, we're going to have to pump the brakes on that shit. We're not gophers. We're not here to serve her. Like, I get she's angry. I get that she's remembers, and I get that we did terrible things to her people, but if you're not in the fight, then what good are you? And if you're just going to sit on the sidelines, then I don't want to hear you fucking talk. That may be a draconian way of looking at it. That's a weird pull on phrases, but yeah, if you're not going to participate, then get the fuck out of the way.
Kind of got us into this mess in the first place, though. It's kind of that way of thinking.
I think we should leave some room for empathy here. We got to give her space to process through all this. We got to keep moving forward. There's no doubt about that. We can't, I agree with Lucas, we can't be her gophers. We can't be constantly doing favors for her, but we can't also expect her to jump on to team, Evening Star the minute we do her one solid. She's going to need to see us constantly doing good. And hopefully she's been paying attention this whole time, but maybe she hasn't. Maybe this call is what first attracted her to what we're doing. And if that's the case, it's kind of like a fresh start. We're starting from ground zero, or actually even maybe from behind, because she's got this negative opinion of us. So we've got to, I think she deserves some empathy in that regard. So one good deed can't necessarily bring her all the way over, but it also doesn't mean we owe her everything. We didn't do it. You were right about that, Aspen. We didn't do it. And we can't take it all on us for what happened. And if bringing Turtle back, whatever that entails, will help things, if it'll help things with all of these potential visitors that are going to be coming here, then maybe that needs to be a big priority, which means we got to make helping the Fae, the changelings, a priority too, because that seems to be the way it's going to work. Is from what we learned, the staff is the gateway, the key, the road, and that they're going to be the ones. That's where Turtle is, from what Jace was saying, is on that side. So we have to get there, and we have to get Turtle out, whatever that means. So that's where that's connected.
So how do we streamline everything? And I mean everything. I don't just mean She Who Shines, or I mean everything. How do we streamline it so we can get back to a place where we're no longer working with the leeches? We're no longer having things looming over our head. What do we do?
Well, I think we have to delegate. Realistically, I think we have to give certain jobs to certain pack members, and we just have to let them go with it and do whatever they need to do to get it done. I don't think we can all go after each individual thing as a group, even though that's our way of doing things usually. I don't think we can go after these things one at a time, because I don't think that, one, we have the time to do it, and two, the resources to do it.
All right. I'm going to throw out a controversial thing that you're really not going to like, Aspen. I think that we should consider the deal with the leeches. Consider it. Because we are not staffed to fight on two fronts right now. We're just not. In a piece, however that looks when we work out the details, is better than having to watch our backs while we're charging into front lines. I don't have the history that you and Jester have, and I acknowledge that some pretty shitty, terrible things have been done to us, and I've been a part of it too, with Bloody Mary and Aiden. Yeah. But it's just one less problem we have to worry about. And that is streamlining, just like you asked for.
I'm not doing that forever. I'm not doing what they want to do. I'm not making a deal with them. You stay on your side, we stay on our side. I will do it temporarily, but I will not make that an indefinite thing. That's something, regardless of how streamlined it could be, it's not going to happen. As long as they're here, we're not saving Gaia. As long as he's here, as long as they're here, as long as they're putting their fingers into everything that we do and we don't do that we haven't even found out about yet, absolutely not. I can't stand by and let that happen.
Do you think leeches are worm tainted?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. Because the more I look at it and the more I learn about them and the more that I see them, I think they're more closely aligned with the Weaver. They don't change. They keep things, they build things to a certain point and then they keep the status quo. They perpetuate cities. They foster growth in those cities.
They also feed off of decay. I mean, they stand in defiance of decay. They also foster it too. They literally feed off of living things and often kill those things.
There's hundreds of things that exist in nature that feed off of other living things. I don't think that precludes them from being, part of a natural order of a sort. I'm not trying to play a sympathetic card here. I'm just saying, back to what I said before, we can't look at them the way we've always looked at them. Some of them are not like the ones we've encountered. I have to believe it. We both talk to Spud all the time.
Yeah, but Spud is not exactly like them.
Still close enough. He also didn't have a choice. So while Bateman and whatever the fuck that thing was that was with him that night, ones like that, I'll write it dawn on that. Absolutely. There's other ones out there that aren't like him. There has to be more like Spud than like Bateman. Just want to exist and be left alone.
Okay, let's entertain the thought for a second, because I guess that's what we're supposed to be doing here, right? I'm going to try and if, regardless of who or what you are, if you're perpetuating consumption and greed and making Gaia worse, you are a problem. Is that correct? Is that a fair statement?
It's a statement. Yeah.
So, wouldn't that mean that many of the leeches that we've met perpetuate that?
I haven't met a lot, but the ones we have met and had contentious contact with, yes.
Well, to your point, Aspen, nothing lasts forever. If we were to take the deal with them, there's no way it's going to be indefinite. Either they're going to break it or we're going to break it inevitably, because nothing does last forever. I mean, look at the state of the world as it is now. Nothing good can stay. Nothing good can last forever. Nothing bad can last forever. Time goes on. Treaties are broken. Agreements change. So there's no way a treaty between us would last forever. However, to your point, as long as it does stay, people are going to get hurt. People will be getting hurt while it's happening, and we won't be able to do anything about it. Whatever they're doing is hurting people. They will be feeding on people. They will be accosting people. They could be even making more of them, rebuilding their numbers after everything that happened, reinforcing the fallout of what happened, making more blood banks. We disrupted their feeding supply. We took out their commander. We, killed Bloody Mary. We shook them, knocked them on their heels. This will give them time to refortify, resupply, and prepare to fight us again. And all the while, they'll be doing what they do, which is hurting people, taking advantage of people, enslaving people. They'll be doing that because that's what they do. And we'll have to be in this agreement with that knowledge. So is that something we want on our conscience in this arrangement? But Lucas's point, it is one less thing to worry about until we can get some of this shit taken care of, until we can get Turtle back, until we can get the spirals gone or figure out what their deal is, until we can get Jace healed, until we can get the iron, until we can get, it'll at least give us time to knock things off our list. But then also, when don't we have things on our list? We always seem to have more things on our list. We always have to be watching our back for the unknown to begin with, let alone the leeches. The leeches seem to be the least of our worries most of the time.
Aspen will get up out of her chair and she'll just kick off her shoes and lay in the grass next to the table. I don't feel confident that I can make that decision. There's too much at stake for me now. There's too much at stake for Jester, so I can't ask her either.
If we were to make peace temporarily, just like Artie says, no peace lasts forever. And certain things could be put into place to de-weed the garden when we were in a more secure stance to defend ourselves. Would that make you more comfortable as far as the leeches go?
If we temporarily made a treaty with them. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is we temporarily make a treaty with them, and as soon as it's in an advantageous position for us, we betray the shit out of them and take a huge chunk out of them. We strike first before they strike us.
Aspen continually laying in the grass, looking up at the sky and the treetop. Kind of tries to find Artie's gaze. You think that's smart?
There are some tactical advantages to it. Depends on if you see them deserving of honor, and if you want to be an honorable combatant in this. It's not an honorable thing to do. Now, they haven't necessarily been honorable towards us, but one thing that we've always had over them is that we could hold our heads up high at the end of the day in the way we've handled ourselves. So, if you don't have any qualms and don't see yourself having any qualms with it and the way it's handled, there are advantages. But again, as long as the treaty stands, and it's standing if we want the iron regardless, even if it's a day, a week, a month, people are getting hurt with our knowledge. They're doing what they do. And we've known they've been doing what they do, but every time we could stop it, we did. And honor is one of our biggest tenets. It's what Gaia judges us by. It's what the spirits judge us by. So it depends on how much that means to you. I don't know if Charles will be on board for it, but he's your warder. He will do what you say. He follows orders.
We say we do what we said we were going to do. They help us with the plant problem, and it all washes away after that. I think right now, honor, even honor aside, I think it's the lesser of two evils.
That's fair. Zardy's right. Yeah, if we take a treaty, people are going to get hurt. But if we're splitting our attention, we can't stop the thing that's also going to be hurting people. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario here. And if honor is what's going to swing you in one direction or the other, I respect that.
We keep the treaty, we get the iron as soon as possible now, unfortunately. It was kind of, at least in my brain, on pause until hands were exchanged, but we make the treaty. We do what we need to do for the plants and for She Who Shines and everything else. And the moment that's taken care of, the treaty ends and we do what we need to do on that side of things. And at least we don't have a billion other distractions.
Well, from my understanding, we're already under the initial treaty, right? We're talking about potentially extending a further treaty for more.
Right.
Okay, so we're still under the original treaty of just it ends when it plant problem's over, but okay, got it. Right.
It's just deciding whether we
Got it. Yeah.
lean more into their side.
Right. No, that makes sense. Because I mean, obviously, even after the plant problem's over, doesn't mean it's all over. We've still got to get Turtle out. We've still got the other changing breeds coming in. We've still got, I mean, we don't even know what the ending of the plant problem means just because we take out Vanessa or Piney Point or whatever. That doesn't mean even Balor's handled. We don't know what the end of the plant problem is.
We don't know if all the infected are just going to stop or if they're just going to be free roaming with no master after that. So
right.
Could be anything.
Could be an endless treaty to begin with. If they aren't just all dissolved with one, if there's even one infected out there in the world, the leeches can claim that the treaty is still on.
Well, it seems like I need to start writing, finding the loopholes, figuring all of that out, which
I'm pretty sure they've been this entire time, so we better catch up.
In the grand scheme of things, that's something I'm good at. But I don't think, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't think I can face him by myself.
What do you need?
Somebody to keep me in line, keep me from losing my cool. Somebody that's going to do what needs to be done to make sure I don't screw things up.
Yep. I agree. Jester would be terrible at that.
In this situation, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you call me when you need it. I also, as an alternate, recommend Jace. They just got a lot of weird shit they can do, but the one thing they don't have any touch on, as far as I know, is spirits. Jace has got that on lockdown, so you take a couple of those in there with you on a negotiation, and you've got an edge that they can't counter or deal with.
Right. But also, Jason can be quite an agreeable person. And all that aside, he's broken. So
Hopefully for not much longer.
Yeah.
I think maybe we make that our top priority. That's the first step, the beginning, the next thing.
Well, Eliza and I were talking before Godzilla showed up, and seems like she's got a plan. She seems fairly confident. The only thing she seems concerned with is that that Jace might be out of commission for a little bit. But better that he's out of commission for a little bit than turned to the other side or enslaved by a stick. So
Keep an eye on him here at the Cairn. So if he's down for a little bit, we'll keep him safe. Me and Eliza.
as far as I could tell, she was readying some silver surgical equipment. So that should be interesting.
It was nasty. It was bad.
Yeah.
Like, probably don't want to be there. I mean, I know you asked me, you're probably going to do it anyway, but don't wear anything you like.
No, been through enough stuff to know when to be fancy, when to be comfortable. But we get Jace fixed, and I think you and I, Lucas, we sit down, we come up with a plan on how to get that iron. And Artie, I'd really appreciate it if you could get me names and connections that we have, because I think it's about time we start finding allies where we can.
Of course. That being said, let's talk about our allies up in Michigan now. Well, where they currently are. We got some interesting information right before they left, and could potentially cause some problems. How are we feeling about the success of their mission? How much are we weighing in or hedging our bets on their success of them being up there?
I'm hopeful, but also really, really concerned. It's, I don't know.
And I did. Oh, go ahead.
I got a lot of faith in Stakes. I'll say that much. She's shown she's the real deal. So
She seems like is going to get it handled, but I mean, they both have a case. Unfortunately, this is where our story would once again come to a close, as the servants of the Wyrm would corrupt the Weaver once more with an internet outage. You have a wide spectrum of internet service providers to choose from, so make sure you pick the right one. I want to thank the amazing players for taking part in tonight's story, and go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below, and come join our community by following that Discord link where you could take part in one of the many activities we have available and possibly find yourself at one of our tables starting soon. Stay tuned, because on Friday we have a new episode of Hellhounds over on YouTube, and we'll be back next Tuesday, hopefully with another episode of Rage Across Tampa, where we'll pick up right where we left off and conclude the story and start a new story for you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Have a good evening, everyone.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Rage Across Tampa is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Preston, Champ, Noree, and Weiss. Visit our website at stpetbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become a part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.